With only 2 rounds remaining, a pair of tight and technical tracks face the drivers. First off is Belgium's lesser-known Grand Prix circuit, Zolder. Our 2 championship rivals must thread the needle through its numerous chicanes as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Peter Mackay. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Zolder's lack of popularity might be more due to its rival Spa. When you've got competition like that, it's easy to be overlooked. So why don't we head to our track guide to find out more about it? Welcome to Zolder, a temporary home for the Belgian Grand Prix in the 70s and 80s. In present day, it's mainly used for GT and lower-level formula racing. The track sits in the northeast corner of the country near Hasselt, nestled right up against the Albert Canal. The 2 raceable layouts are essentially the same, save for the tightness of the Jackie Ick chicane. Both are just under 2.5 miles and have 10 turns. While the track had some sadly infamous moments for Formula One, it remains a popular venue. Its most notable feature is the plethora of chicanes that scatter the lap. The slowdown penalties drivers receive for cutting the course at them can tend to be race-defining. But more worrisome are the monstrously large curbs parked at the apexes that have been known to tear apart wings and suspensions. Passing tends to be difficult, with only 2 spots offering out braking zones that aren't into chicanes. The Boulderberg hairpin is the easier of the 2, while Erst is a medium-speed, downhill, off-camber 90-degree turn. To say it proves troublesome to get right, even when not in a battle, is an understatement. While the lap opens up with many of those swift, wide-radius corners, the rest of the turns are almost all hard braking zones. High-powered cars with little downforce do need to be careful between the Kleine chicane and Butte, because there's a large crest that can catch you out. Winning here will require precision and patience. Belgian fans may have the more famous Spa to choose from, but you can't go wrong with the consistently good action this track puts forward. Well, with the Lotus 79 here at Zolder, at least one thing is in favor of this series here, Peter, is this is a very period-appropriate track for this car.
It is indeed. Yeah, this car does have a lot of history here at Zolder. It's a wonderful circuit in my view. Like you said, very much lives in the shadow of Spa. That's the circuit that really any racing fan around the world would know. But Zolder is a proper cracker. Lots of technical places in the around the circuit. Some fast corners, but not really as many as you would maybe expect for this car. But of course, this is where the late great Gilles Villeneuve lost his life, and there is a chicane named in his honour as well. And shortly after that, the Grand Prix never returned here. It went back to Spa after that. But the drivers here in the Lotus 79 Grand Prix Series are going to have an absolute bottle driving these machines around this wonderful Parkland circuit today.
Now, also, let's take a glance at the championship real quick before we get into the meat of things. We have a 4-point separation between Simone and Freesia. Part of that is due to them counting drop weeks now. And Freesia actually drops some points, and that's why Simone is able to get back into it, even though he is missing 3 rounds. Still, that tells you just how dominant Tomas has been in this season. From there on down, it gets pretty sparse as most of the drivers are fighting with one another. 47 points back for Bycroft, and even more separation between Seppa and Rinna as well. What about the team's championship here, Peter? What are we looking at there?
So at the moment, it's John Player, Team Lotus, leading by just 12 points from Scuderia Ferrari, with Equipe Renault in 3rd. Marlboro Team McLaren sit in 4th place, with the Shadow Racing team up there in 5th spot.
And of course, for today's event, let's take a look at the race details. As we mentioned, round 11 out of 12. So this is really at the end of things. 36 laps that they'll be competing here today. It's an open setup series, which means anything that they could have done to the actual Lotus 79 to try and get it into the setup that they wanted, the range that they wanted, they could do here in the sim. but they have some incident points to worry about. 17, they'll get a drive-through. 25, they'll get disqualified. It's very easy to cut the course here, especially in the final X chicane, since it's the faster version that they're running. So watch out for that as we continue on. We've already got some times on the board here in qualifying. Tomas Simon holds the provisional pole. I'm looking to see Freesia, and he's actually just getting started on his first flyer.
Yeah, and the one thing about those track limit violations, it must be a Belgian thing, Joe, because it's the same at Spa. Those little breaches of the track limits. If you breach any of the track limits at all here at Zolder, your qualifying lap will be invalidated, and just 2 flying laps under pressure for these drivers. Now, here at Zolder, because it's such a technical circuit, the overtaking opportunities aren't really that plentiful. So if you fluff both your qualifying laps, you're going to be in for a long day. God, look at that speed. Oh my word.
Yeah, I love these onboards, especially through X. Nicola Cocci going up to the pole ahead of Tomas Simon, and Simone takes it back immediately with about a tenth and some change quicker than the Italian. Waiting for Freesia to set a time. It's a 14.6. That's not going to be good enough for pole. In fact, that's well down. Freesia's struggling a bit here.
Yeah, this is not we've seen Gernot Freesia maybe just struggle a little bit in qualifying. He's been strong in the race. He's been very consistent in the races. Watkins of Severi Sepadu, 114.5 for Severi, only good enough for 6th. Let's see if Gernot Freesia can improve. He's on to his second flying lap now through the Klein chicane, which was put in 1972 in anticipation for the first Grand Prix here in 1973. Now, you mentioned Jackie X there, Joe. Jackie X was actually responsible for that race going ahead at all. The rest of the drivers wanted to boycott the race because the track surface was breaking up after being resurfaced the week before. But Jackie X, when it was time to go, got into his car in the left pit lane, and the rest of the drivers had to reluctantly put on their helmet and gloves and follow him out there. And if it wasn't for Jackie X, there wouldn't have been a 1973 Belgian Grand Prix.
You talked about certain things being very Belgian. I think they had a similar issue at Spa one year, too. So I wonder what's going on with the pavement over in Belgium as we watch Freesia down to the line on his second lap. 13.9, that's much quicker, but that's still only into third. So he'll start from the second row at best. We're waiting for a couple more here. We're watching Pastor come around. He hasn't set a time yet. His first one was discounted, as you mentioned. Must have had an off track. I think the big difference here between Spa and Zolder is that Spa has all those paved runoffs. Here, you're really flirting with disaster if you just clip the edge because it's all dirt.
Yeah, and I think, there are certain parts of Spa where the walls are close, but much more so here at Zolder. I mean, this is a much more track of the old school. There is a reason why there isn't any absolutely top grade A motorsport coming here anymore. It's mostly national and club level, some European level stuff in the real world. So it's great that, I'm glad that Joseph Mudrak has just given us a nice exhibition there of what the drivers are going to be super careful for, because those curbs at the Klein chicane, well, they are brutal. And this car, of course, relies a lot on the grip generated underneath the car by ground effect aerodynamics. So if you damage that system, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, and now that we hop off board, you can see he did indeed damage some of the car. The driver's left of the front wing looks to be bent up slightly, and that could be affecting his pace just a little bit. The number 6 takes it through the X chicane and down to the line. Looks like a 16.5 will be his quickest, so that is going to be it for his qualifying. He'll start from 24th. A single split today. Pastor has missed both of his laps, so at this point he's just getting some warm-up in. He only gets 2, and then you're done for the day. Checking to see if anybody else is able to set a time. I see Armando Edwards here, who we have on screen, the New Jersey driver. Should be able to put one in as long as this is a flyer. I'm not exactly sure if it is, because I think we are pretty late, so I'd be surprised if he waited this long just to get the car onto the track. Let's see what it does. And no time. Yeah, he did wait just that long. Edwards going to start from the back of the field. That should be everybody who is able to put one on the board here, Peter. This is going to be fascinating. It's a big field for such a small and tight track.
It certainly is, yes. And of course, normally when we get a split here in the Lotus 79 Grand Prix series, there is very much the top guys are kind of separated out, but they're going to have their hands full today for sure.
There you see our starting grid with Shimon on the pole, Nicola Kochi starting beside him, and Gernot Frischa in P3. Seferi Seppa will be P4. Timo Karjalainen will be in 5th, with Martin Granberg starting from 6th position. Andreas Henkel, P7 for him. It'll be Michael de Turk to his outside in 8th, with Alessandro Parigi in 9th, and Ove Traingrade rounding out your top 10.
Starting on row 6, in 11th place will be Jukka Tolonen, and alongside him will be Paul Williams. Row 7 sees Pablo Suarez and Nathan Finnegan, with Peter Konecki and Daniel Banker starting on row 8. Row 9 will be Robin Matschke and Robert Simpkins, and Cristiano Carani and Keith Herner round out the top 20.
21st goes to Tony Teolis, with Steve Sarles in 22nd, Ivan Jojo in 23rd, Mudrack in 24th, and Holding in 25th. Last one to put a time in. Then everybody behind here gets gridded up according to iRating. Pastor, West, Edwards, Dizderevich, Costa, and Del Muth. 31 cars out there, just about on the track as we wait for them to finish gridding up. Now, if you want to follow along on the racing, we're not covering your favorite driver, make sure and check out gsrc.tv. We will have live timing and scoring all race long. Seeing this in this downhill start that they have here at Zolder into Erst. Very difficult, quick corner. So not sure we'll see many capable overtakes into that first turn after the green flag, as they'll barely be up to speed. I think at this point we're just waiting on Richard Holding here to plop his car on the grid, and then we will be able to get going here today. Last couple seconds tick down, and that is it. He's going to have to start from the pit lane. As the engines start to rev, the lights come up. Round 11 in the Sunday Grand Prix Series sees the green flag wave. And it is a good start for Nicola Kochi to the outside as he starts to gain, coming down into that first left-hander. He gets a little bit of overlap, tries to challenge him, and actually gets a good launch. He might be able to take the lead away from Tomas Simona, championship leader, and he gets through. We have a big wreck in the background, unfortunately. Number of cars caught up in that, but looks like we have a switch for P1 very early.
Yep, we do indeed. Nicola Kochi to the front of the pack in his Parmalat Brabham, and Ove Traingrade off there in the background in the Honda liveried machine. Through the Klein chicane they go for the first time. You've got to be super careful here because the cars are on cold tyres and also cold brakes as well, so you've got to let them come up to temperature a little bit. And of course it's only a short lap here at Zolder, so you've got to have probably a lap under your belt before you can really start to push the issue a little bit. But we've got a spinner there. One of the Renaults, both Renaults are off at the Villeneuve chicane, so it's getting very, very busy. But looked like there was a brilliant start there for Gernot Frischa as well, Joe.
Yeah, he remains in third, but he's definitely holding on. Big split between top 3 and 4th place Martin Granberg. Oh, and Simpkins apparently having an issue as he goes very wide in the Boulderberg hairpin, but we're watching the leaders. Looking down to Erst once again. This time it's Simone around the outside. Did he learn something from it? Yes, he did. He gets by going the long way around, and Nicola Kochi sees his own game played on him.
Wow, what a move there. That was just so opportunist there from Tamas Simone, but wow, what a great move. And Nicola Kochi gave him the room, but he's probably looking at his side mirror going, he's surely not trying this, is he? But he pulled it off to right on board of the engine cover of the Cosworth DFV motor of Tamas Simone. It might have Ferrari colours, but it's a Lotus underneath as they head up over the crest. Amazing part of the circuit there. The car goes light and squirrely and then hard on the brakes for the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. And now normally chicanes get a bit of a bad rep, but that is a proper chicane.
It is a very finicky chicane, that is for sure. As we ride on board with Frischa now, looking up ahead at Nicola Kochi. Briefly held the lead, and Simone is determined to try and deny him from getting back into that spot. They remain very close here with the top few, about half a second splitting them through the quicker version of the Ick chicane. Look at them absolutely fly through there and then weave back across the track to set up for Erst.
Yeah, it is absolutely extraordinary just how much these front three have split away from the rest of the pack. Martin Granberg in fourth, already nearly 4.5 seconds back on Gernot Fritzsche in third place. But I tell you what, Joe, Thomas Simon, he looks like he wants to take all dubiety out of this race. He wants to hit the front and clear off and control it in his way. I don't think he wants to get involved in any kind of skirmishes with Nicola Cocci. He's trying to clear away early.
Heading back a little bit into the mid-pack, we're looking at Barry West here. This is a good battle as West is poking his nose to the inside of Finnegan. And Finnegan's going to deny him behind them. Look at that side by side between Sarles and Pastor. But Matschke is the one that's going to take advantage and bypass both of them out of there. What a launch he had.
Wow. Ooh, well, you mentioned that chicane was finicky, but it's amazing how the car in front is almost broadside in front of you, and it looks like you're about to T-bone the car in front and then flick, and you're through. Wow, brilliant stuff here at Zolder. Matschke in that fantastic looking 7-Up car, a sort of throw forward from the Lotus 79 to the early 90s and the days of Jordan Grand Prix.
I was just saying, there's quite a different way of doing things there as we come back to third place Fritzsche. Now they start to spread apart in our top group. Looks like Gernot losing time to Cocci, and same thing with the Italian, watching Simone streak away. Top three certainly not as close as they were a bit ago. Now, I don't know if we have a replay on that opening wreck. I do know Pablo Suarez was involved, the number 16. I think we've got some time if we want to try and poke our nose back, see if we can figure out what happened towards the back of the field. Here's Suarez currently. We're going to watch from the very beginning. Here we go as we pull up the replay. That was a little look, but no attempts of the pass from Herner through the Kleine chicane. Now, I think Suarez was a bit of an innocent victim here. The car in front spun, and I'm not entirely sure who it was. It might have been Paul Williams, because I see a blue and white car up in front of him right now. Yeah, that is Williams, and they just come together in the worst way.
Oh, it's so gutting when you're driving along, minding your own business, and someone makes an honest mistake in front of you, and there's nothing you can do as you're right on board. With Pablo Suarez, we're going to get a very close look of what happens to Paul Williams. So Paul Williams about to get on the power, and dearie me, Lewis Hamilton couldn't have avoided that, and that is just really, really bad luck. That's racing, as they say.
Absolutely. As we come back live now, and drivers still cycling around on lap 5. We're watching Parigi here in 8th with De Turk just in front of him. Whoa, a little hot into the corner there for Parigi. He's going to have to check up, gets a little dirt on the tires as suddenly the number 8 disappears in front of him.
I tell you what, Thomas Simon is really turning the screw at the front. But before we go to that, let's have a look at that replay of Parigi having to gather that one up in a hurry. Now, yes, here we go. We're going up towards the Kleine chicane now. And this is such a thread of the needle. It's really not the most popular chicane, but it's, I think, probably because it's so difficult to get right. It's a real challenge. Down over the crest towards Gilles Villeneuve chicane now. Let's see what Parigi does here. Just loses it a little bit on the way in. I think he maybe gets checked up a little bit with the car in front, and that just grabs his attention slightly.
Yeah, certainly looked like that first apex was never going to be hit, unfortunately, by the 12. As we head back to Banker now. This is a little farther down, of course, fighting for 12th position. He's got Finnegan and West behind him, who we were watching before, and also Peter Konietzki in front, along with Trangarade. Ove, who we saw go off, is back to where he started this race, sitting in 10th. You can see this group of 5 weaving through the Kleine chicane as we hop on board with the Scandinavian now, looking back at the fight behind him.
I have to say, I love the simplicity of this livery on Obi Trengarade's car. The Honda Japan colours looks absolutely superb from Honda's days as a full works team back in the 1960s. when they were really a properly growing company at that point as well. And it looks brilliant on that Lotus 79 machine. And of course, Ovi, one of our front runners in the Lotus 49, the Grand Prix Legend Series, which we broadcast every Saturday here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We're riding on board with Joseph Mudrak, who's doing a great job of being the cameraman here. This battle erupting in front, and look at the run that Mudrak gets going down towards turn one. Wow, the sensational speed there is just really, it's really exaggerated because it's just so narrow down that pit straight, Joe.
And Mudrak is not interested in waiting around, but he's boxed in. That is Jojo and Edwards, who are fighting hard. A little bit of contact between them. Mudrak finally able to take advantage. So much happening, I can't get the words out. And coming out of Bianchi, that's going to move him up into 21st position. Let's see if he can also manage to get by Jojo here. Oh, and we have a car off track in front of him. Yeah, that is Nathan Finnegan there at the side of the road that we just saw. Must have had an incident coming through.
Oh, and he's off there in a big way. So maybe he just clipped the curb at the Klein chicane. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So I think that's an amazing demonstration, Joe, of just how aggressive the power delivery in these cars are. They were the cutting edge in Grand Prix technology in the 1970s, using the Cosworth DFV engine, but a lot of horsepower. And although it's a naturally aspirated engine, when that power comes in, it comes in very aggressively. Whoa, there you go. Gee whiz. You don't get much warning.
Indeed. If we come back live, Mudrak's still on it with Ivan Jojo for that battle for 19th as they swing through Erst. Behind him, Edwards is not giving up on this, and because they've been fighting so much, Tony Teolis has now rocked up to the back of him. It is a 4-car battle coming out of Canal and into Bianchi one more time. Is this a good exit for Joseph? It almost looked good on the way in, not as good on the way out.
So here we are, Cosworth DFV cam, my favourite camera in the entire Dougie Beard camera suite, here riding on top of one of the greatest Grand Prix engines ever made. Looking back at the beautifully painted Warsteiner car, and actually Warsteiner were actually a major sponsor of the Prince of Bayern, who quite enjoyed a little bit of motor racing to fill his spare time.
Yeah, that was Ivan who we were on board with a big slide. And we're jumping up because it looks like Seppa is starting to close on Granberg. This is for the 4th position. Martin started in 6th and gained a few spots there at the start, but he's under threat as the Finn has got it to within a couple car lengths.
Yeah, it's very Seppa on the move here. Of course, these guys are really a long way off the leading trio, who aren't really a leading trio anymore. They're 3 lone soldiers out at the front, led by Thomas Simone, who has just really turned the screw on the competition here. 1:14.2 his best lap time, half a second better than what Poche and Fritzsche can manage.
Down into Boulderberg. And off the corner, another case where I'm sure it's tough to try and apply that throttle. And he gets ever closer. Seppa looking very strong here today. What can he do coming out of Ix? Looks like Granberg going to be the one to take the advantage coming off of there. Puts himself just a few more car lengths away from him.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic season for Martin Granberg, and this will be another really solid finish for Martin. Of course, early championship leader as well. It'll be interesting to see where he eventually finishes in the point standings. To look a little bit further back down the field, and it doesn't get any less fierce. And that's amazing, Joe, how much with this slightly different layout of the Jackie X chicane, the much faster layout, you can really get a run down into turn 1.
And that was Dizdarevich continuing his charge up the field after not getting a qualifying time. That's going to give him 16th. If we get a replay on Mudrak through the first corner, he had a heck of a time trying to control that thing. The 6 nearly let it get out from underneath him. This was a fantastic catch by the driver from Ohio. Here we go. This all sets up here. Gets a great run. I think he spied an opportunity. looks to the inside. Oh,
Ooh. It's almost as if it was almost like a lift. He lifted off to avoid contact with the other driver, and that kind of got him a little bit unsettled as well. It doesn't get any lift. So maybe maybe just a little bit too lazy on the throttle there, and the car just broke away from him. Well, that's safe. He's deserved himself an ice-cold Warsteiner after the race.
Certainly has. At least he's still running. He's a driver that's hopped over from the Camel GT series to compete here at the Lotus 79. Like to see these vintage drivers continue to show themselves in all these older cars. We're watching from onboard Grandberg now, though, looking back at Seppa once again down through the Villeneuve chicane and into Turleman. Things really pick up speed through here. A lot of banking in this corner as they come up over the crest. And I don't think Seppa is going to be close enough to try and attack here into the hairpin.
Not quite, but this is it's a very Seppa looking menacing here in the number 5 car, the John Player Special Machine. Of course, John Player Special Team Lotus leading the team championship here in the Lotus 79 Classic Grand Prix series, and that takes your breath away every single time you watch it. And it just shows that's where you're really putting the ground effect aerodynamics to work there.
Yeah, normally I like tracks that are faster with fewer chicanes, but that last chicane is frightening as we head back to Matchkey once again. Still looking for 14th with Coriani in front of him. But also Diz Derevich, who I mentioned, is making up position after position. Clearly quick. Sure, he's regretting not able to get a clean one in. The 23 on the back of Robin here in the number 21. Closes a ton coming through Erst. And as they head through the next couple corners, it's a long 3 apex right-hander, essentially almost becomes one corner as they go side by side into Bianchi now, but around the outside there's just not enough grip there.
Oof, and a big moment there for Derevic. They're very lucky to hang on to that one as they bundle into the Klein chicane, and a lot of curb, probably more curb than you really want to be risking. That just shows you how much he's pushing. All 3 of them gathered together now, piling into the Villeneuve chicane. And the crazy part is, Joe, this is for the fringes of the top 15. It's like the battle for the lead.
Oh, Julian Martinez-Pastor got into a big wreck. This was with a number of drivers into the second corner. I think Steve Sarles involved. I think Ivan Jojo got a big piece of it. See if we can get a replay on this one. Just about. Here we go. We've got it spooled up. Yeah, there you see Jojo coming into the midst of it. Everybody almost kind of blind heading into there. This starts with Sarles, I believe. Take another look at it. Yeah, there you see the 2 cars in front, 2 into 1. Unfortunately, whoa! That was Pastor absolutely flying away.
I wonder if that was maybe front wheel to back wheel there, and it was quite a significant size difference between the front and the back wheel, a little bit like on a motorcycle almost. And yeah, you never want to go. Yep, there you go. Exactly. But normally that would work the other way around, where the front wheel would come off first. But that was a nasty one.
A lot of drivers, unfortunately, finding themselves disadvantaged or simply taken out by that as we watch from the gearbox and then come back live. We're going to go back to the fight for 4th place, just outside of the podium positions. Grandberg doing a fantastic job defending from Severi Seppa. It's not let him really get close enough that I've seen an attack yet, but he's at least keeping the pressure on.
I have to say, yes, I would have thought that Seppa might have found his way through by now, but Martin Grandberg doing a fantastic job in this number 4 car to keep Severi Seppa at bay. Good respect there from the lap traffic. I think that was Delmuth letting the leaders through, and that's something that we must highlight, Joe, is that in general most of the drivers here are part of one community who race regularly here on Sunday afternoons, European time, and they all know each other well, and they all have a lot of respect up and down the grid.
Absolutely. They see when Something is happening with the leaders coming up to them as we head back to Turk now. On the heels of Andreas Henkel, this is for 6th position. Coming out of the X chicane. Whoa! A little bit of a clip of the grass for Henkel there. Caused the car to bobble a bit out of that final run. Doesn't lose them the spot, though. They stay in position down through Erst there.
Yeah, this has been a really strong run from both of these guys, and especially for Michael de Turk in the Kiel cigar machine as well. And of course, in front, the British Air Ferries car of Andreas Henkel. And nice to see Andreas there running the helmet of the great Michael Schumacher as well. It's nice to see that red helmet with the 7 stars on it.
Absolutely. Now coming down into the Villeneuve chicane. Henkel's got himself clear enough that he doesn't have to defend on de Turk through there. And then into Turleman they swing. The laps are ticking down quite quickly. We're almost halfway through this race at this point. Still time to, of course, try and make something happen, but as de Turk follows in the tire tracks of the number 14, he's got to start sizing them up, maybe try to attack, find an opening somewhere.
It seems to me, Joe, that turn 1 has been the real hot spot for overtaking manoeuvres, but you've got to get the X chicane absolutely perfect, and it's amazing how much of an overrun we've seen so many drivers get by just puring that, by just throwing the risk in to try and get that move done into turn 1. And that's what you would think Seppa might have had the opportunity to have a go by now. Martin Granberg, well, he's certainly got the patience and the calm to keep Severi Seppa at bay. This is a brilliant defensive drive here from Martin Granberg.
Well, we've seen Granberg snatch a win this season. Obviously not looking likely to do that today, as he's already 20 seconds behind the leaders. But still, 4th place will probably feel good considering the talent level we've seen this season out here from onboard Seppa once again, working his way towards the Boulderberg hairpin. And the number 5 also showing quite a bit of patience, at least. I haven't seen anything wild. It doesn't look like he's driving out of his ability here. Just kind of waiting, watching, and running up behind that rear wing and seeing what unfolds.
Yeah, maybe also perhaps trying to just keep the pressure on and maybe letting Granberg make the mistakes. Of course, there's such a challenge, this circuit here at Zolder. It's very, very easy to make an error. So maybe that's his strategy, to try and force him into that error. Riding on board with Michael de Turk, who's similar issue, trying to lay the pressure on Andrea Henkel, and it is not easy at all. And in fact, looks like Henkel's maybe just stretching the gap a little bit. I have to say, Joe, the iRacing software team have done a superb job at scanning this circuit. It's a real fan favourite in Belgium. Lots of opportunities to try the local alcoholic fizzy beverages, and also the legendary fries as well, which Belgium is so famous for. But I love the story of the opening of this particular circuit, Joe, because normally when you open something significant, the mayor will come along and cut a ribbon, but not here. Oh no, the local mayor, the travel minister, came along and cut steel wire with a cutting torch. That's much more dramatic. I like that. I feel like we need more flavor like that in opening ceremonies as we head back to Dizderevich now. How far up the field has he got? Looks like he's up to 15th, recently having overtaken Mudrack, and the next on his list is Cristiano in the 27. But Mudrack didn't seem to like giving up that spot. Look at this. He's forcing Adnan to go defensive down into the Boulderberg hairpin. And he's going to be able to successfully keep him behind him for the time being. Yeah, this is getting a little bit busier now as well. You can see the number 6 car there just at the back of this pack. The Warsteiner livery, the Fly Saudi Williams livery of the 27 car of Karani being hunted down now by Desdeveric in the ATS back machine. And that... I don't know. I wonder. I've never flown Saudi Airlines, but I'm sure it's rather nice.
Oh, I suspect so. I don't think they do anything halfway.
No.
Here coming off of Bianchi. Once again, Mudrack just, or no, excuse me, it's Dizdarevich this time that's on the attack, rather. That's Cristiano, who is having to watch carefully on the number 23, who showed his nose down into the Kleine chicane. Ooh, very hot into there for the number 27. And it's showing the car starting to slide around a little bit. Here comes Adnan. He's got a fantastic run. And once again, he's showing himself in the mirrors, looking down into the hairpin. He's got it fully past him by the apex, and he's going to sneak through. So is Joseph Mudrack. 2 positions gone in the flash of an eye for poor Cristiano.
Yeah, that's just shows you just that slight loss in momentum, and you really pay the price here. And yeah, you can see this languishing back at the after the Jackie X chicane there. Back to the battle with Seppa and Martin Granberg, and rather than defending, Granberg is going on the attack. He's pulling away, Joe.
Absolutely. Now, I wonder if some of this could be due to traffic, because they just overtook Suarez and Costa, and there's more cars having to go by those lapped cars right now. The fight that we were watching before between Hankel and the Turks, and it definitely seems to be difficult to try and get by them at certain points here.
Yeah, it's just more luck of the draw, really. There's certain parts of the circuit where really there's not a great deal that the lap cars can do, and they have to, they just have to run their line and let the faster cars go round rather than make way for them. As you can see, a number of lap cars with huge damage as well, but I have to say, although the leaders probably won't agree, Joe, I absolutely love the tenacity of the drivers, that regardless how smashed up the car is, they will get it to the finish. I love that.
Yeah, here on GSRC, we've taken to referring to that as the Dory Award, where drivers who keep on swimming definitely deserve respect. And Hankel, unfortunately, swimming into waters too deep, and he overshoots the corner. He's going to give up the spot. Eventually able to get going around 10th place, but he definitely has some big damage on the front.
Okay, let's see. There's another one. Another driver falls victim of the Kleine chicane. Gets a good run out of the corner, running down towards the Kleine chicane, the Lucien Bianchi bend, and then actually loses it on the way in, loses it on the brakes. The car pivots and biff straight into the wall. Good job he's wearing protection.
I see what you did there. As we watch Hankel, one more time from on board. Yeah, I think he was just ambitious, and unfortunately, all that momentum had to go somewhere, and that where was into the wall. If we come back live, I can see that Granberg and Seppa are quite close. There's only 2 tenths between them. This is the closest we've actually seen Seppa all race long. Does he finally try and chuck one in? Maybe into the Kleine chicane? Nope. He's going to once again remain as patient and as cool as you like. This actually sets up a great exit coming off of that chicane down towards Villeneuve. Granberg doesn't cover him off once again. And still, Seppa waiting, watching, looking for something that looks solid and clean.
Big moment there for Severi Seppa on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane there, and look at the run that's given Granberg, which gives him a little bit of cover coming into the hairpin bend here, and then the Boulderberg, and then up through the Jochenrink bend, which is not really a bend, it's just flat out, and then up towards the Jackie X chicane. And wow, that gives you a great idea of just how violent it is going through there. Big commitment required.
Yeah, that Rinth chicane that they added always struck me as very weird. It doesn't seem to do much except make the exit all the more complicated. Whoa, here we go. This is Mudrack with Dizdarevich trying to fight back on him. And in fact, I think there was contact between the pair of them into the Villeneuve chicane. Let's take a look at the replay.
Well, there's definitely damage on the front of Mudrack's car. So let's see. Looks like it's going to be Villeneuve chicane over the crest. They go. And is it under braking? Yes, there it is. Oh dear. But again, it looks like, though, good respect being shown. Not you'll see some drivers taking the opportunity and just clearing off and saying bye bye, bad luck. But great respect. Oh, a little bit of digital aero wake there.
Yeah. wasn't quite on top of him. Mudrack, the one, unfortunately, seeming to suffer more from the damage. We're going to take a look once again at P4. Seppa right on top of Granberg. This is a quick little flick coming through Ix and then down towards Erst, but Granberg once again strong out of there and puts himself barely out of reach.
Yeah, Granberg still just covering the line, and he just looks so comfortable as well. Nothing that Severi Seppa can do is flustering Martin Granberg. You kind of think Seppa's going to have to get a little bit more menacing, fill the mirrors up a little bit more, but well, maybe with, I guess, Joe, with every passing lap car, there's an opportunity to pounce.
That would be my guess, is that I think he's watching and waiting to see just when the perfect storm happens. He gets a run as they catch some of the lap traffic to distract him, because we've seen him get close like this. We've seen him close to within almost a car length behind that number 4, and yet Seppa still is not really showing any signs of trying to get in there. There's the first one. Now he finally gets a little bit offline behind him, tries to get a better exit, and this is the best one we've seen yet. He is right on top of him. Can't get side by side, really, or at least you shouldn't try to get side by side here through Ix. Is he going to lose it through there? Yeah. Just can't keep the speed down through that final left-right.
Just looks like there was a little bit of dirty air there coming out the back of Martin Granberg's car. And I'm not talking about the CO2 fumes of the Cosworth DFV, the air, the turbulent air which comes out of the back of these cars, of any Grand Prix car, really. And that just cheats the aerodynamic grip on the front wing there of Severi Seppa, and it just looked like he was just scrubbing a little going through the X chicane, so not quite. Almost as if you've kind of got to get a run up. You've got to come from a little bit further back, Joe, to get the great run through there.
Wow, Mudrack managing to get side by side with Dizdarevich again. This has been a fantastic fight. Despite the damage on the nose of the number 6, he's still very quick. As they come up to Erst, can't get into there this time, but into Boulderberg, we saw it. We just jumped over in time to catch him, managing to look the long way around there. Let's see what he can do coming out of Bianchi, potentially. A number of drivers have been using that to get a good launch. Doesn't look like it this time. Something of a slide coming out of the corner, going to deny him.
You got to think that, a little bit of a mistake there. Oh, dearie me, from this Ravradek, and that's going to allow Mudrack to get through. He slings it around the outside. That'll give him the inside for Gilles Villeneuve. Great move there, Joe.
Fantastic stuff. Joseph may have been overtaken earlier on, but he's showing Adnan that you don't get to just take this one and scamper away. You have to earn it. Going to watch the replay one more time. It all starts right here. Just a little bit of an error.
A tiny error at that, and that's all that Mudrack needed. He spotted his opportunity, and like you say, the perfect storm. He spotted the mistake coming. He was able to capitalize on it. Everything had to fall into place there, but it did. And Joseph Mudrack is through, while carrying front wing damage as well. Mighty impressive.
Watching from Dizdarevich, and wow, Mudrack is just lightning quick. Look at how much distance he's put between himself and Dizdarevich at this point. So clearly Joseph Mudrack, and Mudrack actually just had a problem. Mudrack just spun it. Full 360. Oh, as another car spinning in front of him. I think that may have been a lapped car. Yeah, that was Delmuth. But we're going to watch the incident coming out of Bianchi.
Ooh, we've got to let go quite early there as well, and just looked like he was just pushing to press home the advantage there, and just got caught out. Of course, he does have a bit of front wing damage, so maybe just the front just let him down. Oh, seemed to just... Magic carpet just pulled from underneath him there.
He was way off the apex at the start too, so yeah, don't know what was going on, but the corner just wasn't going in any way the correct shape or form from very early on, and then he has to avoid, unfortunately, a spinning lapper just in front of him on top of things. So we got another replay. No, we're coming back live, excuse me. We're looking now as we ride on board with JoJo at Steve Sarles in front of him. This is for 19th position and only 10 laps to go at this point.
Yep, and they'll go down quickly, of course. Just a little over a minute here at Zolder. And these cars, they devour the circuit in absolutely no time at all. And, well, talking of devouring, Thomas Simone has absolutely devoured this entire field and eaten it for breakfast, really. 9 seconds ahead of Nico Kochi and 12 seconds ahead of Gernot Fritzsche. And but Gernot Fritzsche just doing what Gernot Fritzsche does, Joe. Just if he can't win, he's right there just picking up the points.
Yeah, that will be important. He's going to lose a little bit coming to the final round, but he'll still be within range. As we are watching from on board Costa, this is the fight for 21st currently, and then we've hopped over once again between Granberg and Seppa. This is a pair that have been split by almost nothing, almost the entire race, like they've got magnets between the cars. At what point does Seppa get a little bit desperate, or is he content where he stands?
Oh, I wouldn't think he's content. Definitely not. I think at this level particularly, and of course any racer, I would think he'll be desperately trying to think, how can I beat this guy? But Granberg has been the master of, well, it's just been an exhibition in perfection, really. He has not put a wheel wrong so far. And no matter what Seppa's been able to do, he's got close, he's tried to follow at a safe distance, he's tried everything. And Granberg has not blinked. But there are so many cars out on circuit, with of course no split today. So there's plenty of cars out there on circuit, and a lot of them about to go a lap down. So there's plentiful opportunities for Seppa to try and make his ambush, shall we say.
That was JoJo attempting to try and get by Steve Sarles, and he's going to do it with the traffic. Oh, my goodness. And the cars in front nearly slide into the corner. That was Tolanen, who we saw having to get on the binders. Boy, clever move by the 26, and now he lets the traffic go by as well. Let's watch the replay. Sarles just a little too polite here and fails to notice that his rival is going to take advantage.
Dearie me, that is someone skipping the queue in front of you, and I can tell you, for British people, that is mighty offensive.
I'd say that's all fair in love and war, though. If Steve's gonna
what, skipping a queue?
Well, I mean, that was Steve that lifted, and JoJo is not obligated to do the same as him, so found a great chance to try and get by, as once again Joseph Mudrack and Dizdarevich on it. After Joseph's spin, he's already regained the time and has caught up to what has been a fantastic fight for much of this race.
You've heard it here first here on GSRC. Residents of Cincinnati and the greater Ohio area, watch out in the coffee queue if you see a man coming through with a look of thirst on his face. That's Joe Peak ready to skip the queue.
Joke's on you, I drink tea instead of coffee. Meanwhile, as we head through the second and third corners, coming off of Canal, riding over the helmet of Joseph Mudrack, comes out of Bianchi, both of them just sliding it through the corner, and we skip back to fourth place now. Seppa getting close and then losing little bits of time coming out of the final chicane.
This is going to go right down to the wire, but can Granberg hold on? If he does, he certainly will have deserved it. And side by side through the Gilles Villeneuve chicane, Mudrack and Dizradovic having an absolute ding-dong here for 14th position, but they're playing for keeps.
Indeed, and here we go again down into the Boulderberg chicane, or Boulderberg hairpin rather, and through the The chicane exiting out of it. Are they going to go side by side through Ix? No. They're going to try it. They're going to do it. And behind them, slowing up, Nicola Kochi just backs it up, knowing he's got space. No one giving way. And then Mudrack is the one that decides he can't hold up the leader any longer, giving up the opportunity to try and take it to the inside of Dizderevich.
And now Gernot Fritzsche has the problem of getting through. Kochi's made it through, but Fritzsche might get held up there. That looked like Kochi was relatively safe. Then that sort of accordioned him back towards Gernot Fritzsche. But there he is there in the Marlboro car. And whoa, big moment there for Mudrack and letting Fritzsche by. And that could be very, very important.
Absolutely. Fritzsche now going to be able to try and get by Dizderevich, but his slowing up allows Mudrack a chance to get side by side. Can't execute, though. He gets in back behind the number 23 as they finally go a lap down from our leaders. We're down to only 13 cars left on the lead lap. That is how short the lap is around here.
Yeah, next up they'll come across Barry West running in 13th position. That must be a little bit disheartening when you're running well inside the top 15 in a field as competitive as this, and then you get lapped. That must be horrible.
Yeah, I mean, we're past half the field being lapped at this point. That tells you just how high up they've gone. This is Barry West sitting in 13th now, being caught by Tomasz Simon a few car lengths back. There you can see him in the red cars. We hop on board with our leader. 12 seconds that he has put on Nicola Kochi. I think some of that may have been down to the lap traffic. We saw Kochi have to wait up behind those battling cars for quite a bit. Oh, there's
who's that off?
That's Simpkins. 5 laps down already. This has been a pretty miserable day for the 24.
That's a pity. I saw a dark coloured car and I thought it might have been Seppa, but it's not. Seppa's still desperately trying to find his way around Martin Granberg. As we see our leader, Thomas Simon, going past Barry West, who makes plenty of room, and Thomas Simon really has plenty of time in hand, so he can really be quite comfortable in these last 5 laps at Zolder. Seppa, though, cannot, and Martin Granberg certainly cannot be comfortable where he is, and looks like Seppa's ready to have another go.
You can see Tomasz Simon setting the fastest lap yet again. As we're watching Parigi and Tolanen. We got to skip up to Seppa, though. He gets nearly inside of Granberg this time into Boulderberg. That's pretty much the first time I think we've seen nearly an overlap between the pair of them off the corner, unfortunately. Wonder if there's just a little bit more downforce on Granberg's car, the way he can just fly through Ix.
Could be, yeah. We know that Seppa quite likes it a little bit looser. As we see Jukka Tolanen with the proper bit of Finnish oversteer there, just just for sport.
Parigi is going to take advantage of that to distance himself from Jukka. Down to 4 laps to go now as they come out of Bianchi. Parigi well safe at this point, but not out of the woods for certain. So we once again take a glance at Mudrack here. Dizderevich behind by about half a second. They come through Ix. Let's see. Mudrack ahead of Dizderevich. He must have overtaken him when we weren't quite looking. And down the front stretch, Adnan quite quick here along the pit straight. Able to get up to within about 3 car lengths behind the number 6. Can he get himself a good run coming out of Bianchi? This is going to be a good chance if he can.
Looks like although although Mudrack and Dizderevich have had a really close battle a lot, it seems that Mudrack does have the better pace. He just occasionally makes mistakes and that drops him back into the battle. So now that Mudrack's ahead, we'll see if he can maintain that position. But another lap car there causing a little bit of an issue for Martin Granberg's momentum. And here comes Severi Seppa in the draft. Will he make a move into the Klein chicane? It would be very bold indeed. He decides to think better of it, but he'll get another opportunity at the Villeneuve chicane. Here he goes. He's got his run around the outside, which will give him the inside for the chicane. And once again, Granberg superior on the brakes. Brilliant stuff.
Butte just sweeps to the left, and the long way around, longer for Seppa. He started to lose those valuable inches alongside Martin Granberg. We are down to 2 to go already. Time is running out. Severi has shown so much patience, but at some point he's got to pull the trigger.
Yep, he will have to at some point, that is for sure. But Thomas Simon leads confidently here at Zolder, and well, he made his move early on Nicola Coccia. An audacious move around the outside at turn 1, don't forget. It seems a distant memory now, but once, I guess, you look at the gap now, Joe, that probably gives a reason why he was able to do that. He's just been in his own planet today.
Oh no, Nicola Coccia just got on the radio saying no fuel, no fuel. He may have underfueled it here because Freesia easily went by. Now, does he have enough? He's got 30 seconds back to Martin Granberg. Is that enough that Coccia can coast this thing around?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's certainly using every last rev there. I think he'll have to come into the pit lane to get a little bit of a splash and dash. But no.
Committed.
Oh, okay. Well, well, I was about to say something rude there, but it's something or bust, as they say.
Coccia trying to ease this thing around, and he won't just lose one position likely. It'll be 2, because that's the battle for Granberg and Seppa behind him. That is gaining. White flag has flown for our leaders, with Shimon up at the front. There you see the number 2 ready to take valuable points over his rival, but it's fewer points now that Freesia has been able to leave Coccia behind.
Yeah, that is a proper Christmas present there for Gernot Freesia. That's almost scenes of Timo Glock having a massive technical failure on the last lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2008, allowing Lewis Hamilton to go by.
Well, it's not the championship yet for Tomas Simon, but the number 2 is going to extend his lead with victory here today at Zolder. Freesia follows him home a distant 14 seconds behind. Coccia is still running, by the way, as we hop on board with Seppa and Granberg. They've gotten it down to 20 seconds between them. Coccia will be able to take a third, so he did coast it home. But let's stay on this battle as Seppa, is this going to be it? That is Cristiano in the 27. Is he aware of the situation? He's trying to slow up to let them through. No, he's going to stay in front. A good run could allow Seppa to beat him to the line. It's going to be close. He's got momentum, but no, he's just short.
Wow, what a defense from Martin Granberg there. And you couldn't criticize the lap car, I don't think, because there was just nowhere to move across, and better just to hold the line. And wow, what a superb drive there from Martin Granberg.
And that's going to wrap us up, but not for the broadcast as a whole. We've got a small break before we bring you the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Zolder here for the penultimate round of the Sunday Grand Prix Series, and Tomas Simon claims another victory here today. Gernot Frische, though, kept it tight, well, at least in terms of points. It wasn't so much on track with a 13.5-second lead to Tomas in the end. Still, he keeps him honest up to the final round next week with this second-place finish. Nicola Cocci could have been in second, but he seemed to have short-fueled it just enough that he winds up in third today. Martin Granberg was P4 and Severi Seppa was fifth. Michael de Turk, P6 for him, was followed home by Alessandro Parigi in seventh, with Ove Trangrade managing eighth, even though he went off on lap one. Daniel Banker, amazingly, was the last one on the lead lap in ninth, and that was ahead of Peter Koneski, who took 10th today.
Classified in 11th place today was Andreas Henkel, followed by Barry West, Adnan Desdavaric, Joseph Mudrak, Cristiano Cariani, Tony Teolis, Steve Charles, Pablo Suarez, Manuel Costa, and Robin Matschke, rounding out the top 20.
21st went to Thomas Delmuth. Tolinen, unfortunately, a DNF today, 22nd. And from there on down, pretty much all drivers who did not see the checkered flag. A lot of incidents at a track that is very difficult and very punishing of our 31 runners. It looks like we've got our third place finisher ready to talk to us, Nicola Cocci, who unfortunately had to soft shoe it down to the finish as we pull Nicola in. It was a second place for much of the race, and then was it a slight miscalculation there on the fuel, Nicola?
Yeah. Hi guys. Yeah, that was pretty silly. I know in the latest races that I was pretty close. I mean, I didn't have that much of a margin, but I never thought that I was that close. And maybe only because this time that it was Thomas in front that it was pushing that much. I pushed too much, and in the end I just burned my spare, and that was it. But yeah, it was a shame, but still fun.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, if it was pushing or if you had any sort of damage that maybe hurt the mileage. But you had some scares in there as well. You saw a fight in front of you going too wide into Ix. I mean, you had plenty of room. Was that a case of you knew you had some space behind you, and that's why you didn't try and force the issue with them there?
Actually, I don't think I had that much space behind me, because I had Gernot at 2 seconds around, and he was closing pretty fast. But I had no choice. I just had to lift there because they were taking so many risks by only the two of them, and I had no space for doing anything. So going 3 wide there, just to attacking those guys, was just like suicide.
These podium finishes keep racking up. Does Road Atlanta, you think, offer you a good chance to maybe finally beat Simone on track?
I don't know, man. Thomas today was on another planet. That was I really have no idea about who's going that fast with this car. So I don't think so. I will be able to match him in Road Atlanta. For some reason here in Zolder, I always had some lucky races, good races. I don't know how to call it, but yeah, I've let's say I had good results in from the start. I mean, even some few years ago. So this track, I don't really like it too much, but maybe the track likes me for a change. And but with Road Atlanta will be different, another completely different thing. So I don't know about my pace there. I don't know about his pace, and I'm sure that I will be able to put some practice time there. Lately, I have some spare time that I'm using to practice more. But other than that, I'm not really sure about it. So I guess we have to wait for it.
Yep, we'll keep an eye out, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again next week in Georgia. But congratulations on a third, Nicola.
Okay, thank you, Guy. See you.
Nicola Kochi, third place, and a driver a little farther down, but probably pretty pleased with himself, is Barry West, 12th from 27th after failing to qualify, and Peter has caught up with him.
Barry, welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel commentary box. How did you enjoy that run out there at Zolder today? Barry, it's Peter in the booth here. Do you have a copy?
Can you?
Just about, if you're there.
I think Barry is talking on the wrong mic right now. He's currently talking in the sim here. Let's see if we can get his mic transferred over to us.
Of course, Barry today finishing up in 12th position for Elf Team Tyrrell, the eponymous team of Ken Tyrrell, of course, which ran Sir Jackie Stewart, the late great Francois Sever, Jody Scheckter, who could forget that, in the six-wheeler as well. Now, let's try again. Barry, can you hear me here in the booth?
How about this?
There we go. Now we've got Barry.
Ah, right, okay, yeah. It's the old button. I tried to swap them over and I forgot to do it in Discord. Yeah, that was enjoyable. Christened my new helmet, a Jackie X helmet, actually. I thought you might have noticed that, Peter.
I'm just looking at it now. I like that, Barry. Yeah, so I take it then you're a bit of a fan of Mr. X.
And I like the helmet. But trouble is you can't do it because of the visor. But anyway, the race, yeah, was really good. I messed up the qualifying, like I said earlier. Spun on the first lap, and then I cut the corner on the second. So I think I started, was it way back? Right at the back of the grid. But there was one car didn't grid in front of me, which is fortunate because it gave me a really good start. I think I got 9 cars before the second corner. I think there was a bit of an incident as well. So first few laps were really hectic and really enjoyable, but hectic. But this circuit, it's either you either enjoy it or you loathe it. I mean, I've had 3 non-finishes this week, and all on the Jackie X corner. So I just treated it with respect and just wanted to finish today because I could have pushed more. But I was just catching Andreas towards the end, and yeah, that was one more lap. If Tamas hadn't lapped me, I think I might have had a chance of getting another place. But yeah, that was quite enjoyable.
It certainly looked it, and to finish in the top third of the field in a field as strong as this is certainly been impressive, Barry. It's been a long season so far here in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix series, and going across a wide multitude of tracks. What's been your highlight of the season?
Well, this one's the highest for points, so yeah, I suppose I've got to say this one really. But I think beginning part of the season, I was top 10, top 12, and then it just seemed to peter off, and I don't know, it's just the qualifying needs to improve because these guys are such a good pace. You can be a little bit quicker than the guys in front sometimes, and you just can't get past them because their driving levels are good, their defensive skills are good. I had some great races with Pablo this week, and yeah, it was nice to put one on him today. But yeah, it's a really high skill level, and like a few years ago there was lots more accidents than what there is now, and everybody's getting to grips with the car, and it seems everybody gives you respect. So it's come along and try it, guys.
Couldn't agree more, Barry. I couldn't agree more. Now, before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout out to here on the Global SimRacing Channel?
Well, congrats to Tomas, because he was flying today, wasn't he? He lapped me, I think, towards the end. And I thought I didn't really make many mistakes, so that's unusual. But yeah, the Tomas, Gurno, Nicola, really good race, and you guys were doing a wonderful broadcast. Cheers.
Well, that's very kind indeed, Barry. Thank you very much, and great job on a good run today.
Believe that's going to wrap up our interviews for the day. So we're going to close out with a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Peter, Ryan, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, as well as Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store, which is simply gsrc.storenv.com. We keep a link down in the description so that it's nice and easy to find and get to. Make sure while you're down there to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. But our next race is going to be at Road Atlanta in a week's time, Sunday, March 7th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so you can check those out and mark them down on your calendar, including up next in just a few moments, the Absolute Beginners League goes to Long Beach. That is going to be tough. That'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.